All right. Well, hello. This is Eddie. I guess I got an echo. So we're out having a good time, and I hope y'all can join us tonight. I have two special guests. Got Leo, an old good friend, and Joe, an old friend. We're gonna talk about. I don't know. We're just gonna have a conversation tonight. Leo, you can introduce yourself. Joe, you can introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joe. I known Eddie for the last 6, 7 years. We used to work together, and now on our own paths, and we're here.
Hi, I'm Leo. I've known Eddie for about 7 years now, and just here to have a good conversation.
So today we're gonna talk a little bit about what this generation is dealing with. They say that. So I'm going to read this list off to you guys. It says that the lost generation was a generation of 1900. Anything before that is like not really a lot of information toward them, and they didn't begin to get an identity until 1900. They started keeping track of culture and people. So they have the greatest generation. The greatest generation are people born from 1901 to 1924. In the greatest generation, they know who they are. These are the people who through the Great Depression. They went through World War One. They went through World War Two. So when people talk about like they went through some serious stuff, they have no idea in comparison to the greatest generation. The second one was called a silent generation. They were more conformist. They just accepted things, but they had strong work ethics. They were from 1925 to 1945. They were the end of World War II. Then we had the baby boomer generation. That was from 1946 to 1964. And a lot of people now, that's the generation that they're from. They were wild in their youth. They were defiant, rebellious. They were part of the Vietnam War. They were hippie, potheads, and loved music, and always telling everybody peace. Then after that, we had Generation X that came. Generation X was 1965 to 1979. They were the MTV culture. I was part of that. AIDS was the big issue that I was dealing with. A lot of them were slackers. And that gave rise to the LGBTQ movement a little bit there, right there. After that was the Generation Y. And the Zennial also was actually before that, 1975 to 1985, short and brief. But Generation Y, the millennials, they were 1980 to 1994. They were self-centered. They became with the Amazon, Google, the digital world was coming into play with them. They were community oriented. That's a good thing. And they were all about keeping it real, being 100% about whatever they said, no filter. Then after that came the Gen Z generation, 1995 to 2012. They were the connection generation, digital divide, politically aware. That was a great thing for them. And they were very outgoing. Then we have the Generation Alpha. That was 2013 to 2025. They were very extremely tech savvy, dependent upon their device. They were the COVID-19 generation as also. Now we have a new generation. That's a generation of 2025 to 2039. That's the AI generation. I'm worried about that generation. But they tell us, you know what? This generation, the last three generations, the biggest issue that they're dealing with is mental health, identity crisis, and social community. Social community is a community that's online with media, digital device, people you can link with all around the world with never having to meet them, creating avatar as a face, catfishing people, just having hiding behind a computer, having alter ego or personality or different character. I like you guys to chime in about what does a social community look like to you guys, and why do you guys feel it is in today's society, and how important it is in your life in today's communities. Social community. Talk to me about that.
I think we've moved away from the traditional um, community where it is more geographic location rather than common interest. And that's both a good thing and a bad thing. I think geographic location means that we're more likely to get opposing views and opposing opinions. Whereas online, you tend to gravitate towards people of similar views, people of similar beliefs. And that's good for reaffirmations and things like that. But it does turn a community much more easily into an echo chamber rather than somewhere where your views or your ideals may be challenged or a different opinion may be offered. And that makes it very difficult because now what we're seeing is a lot of people in every generation, not just in the last three, but also older generations that are trying to adapt and get on social media, on Facebook. The technology, the algorithm generally promotes whatever they're going to interact with, and they will interact with more of their own beliefs and their own views than the opposing ones, which means they're just getting the same thing over and over and over again. So if you have complete moderates and beliefs, that might be an issue, but if you have a couple of far left and far right views, you're just getting more of the same, and it's just going to indoctrinate you more negative. So it's very nice to be able to keep in touch with friends digitally. It's very nice to keep in touch with people when they move away, when they're no longer in your immediate vicinity. But also at the same time, it comes with challenges that we haven't addressed, and a lot of these companies are actively avoiding addressing.
I can attest to that. I think like with what you're saying is that having the ability to link up with people with similar views and then having the ability to challenge people with opposing views. Not necessarily being right in their face, but interacting with them
Yeah.
broadens the ability to have a greater spectrum of what your community is like. So it gives you a deeper insight to other communities that you probably would probably never relate with if you have to physically meet that person, have a conversation, build a relationship with. We're having access to a social community. I don't necessarily have to physically build that relationship with you over time by seeing you every day. And most likely I probably wouldn't because you're not in my social group. But with the internet, the devices, the Facebook, the Instagram, um, the WhatsApp, and all those things, it allows you to build that kind of community.
It's also really difficult when I'll give an example that's personal. My mom is addicted to her Facebook and her Instagram, which means I'm getting 3 to 4 texts a day about, did you read this absolutely absurd news article that didn't really happen but has been shared by 2,000 people near me? And now I gotta fight against like what seems like genuine news, but Very obviously isn't. The most recent example was we have suppressed cloning so that we can start generating soldiers hidden from everybody rather than in the public view so we can send them to fight wars on our behalf.
Mm.
If you got a family member who's like even considering that as a real thing, you're already fighting an uphill battle. And the issue is because it's like the communities that she's a part of on these social media websites that share these ridiculous things, I'm one person fighting 2,000 other people that she's befriended who are telling her, no, this is real.
Sure, like that.
That's
Right.
not like
So you're saying that. So we're dealing more that that's a conspiracy theory.
Oh, it's 100% a conspiracy theory.
I think conspiracy theory thrives on the internet, and some of them are really good. I mean, if you think about that, the cloning people that send people to war. I mean, it makes for a fabulous movie.
Oh, fantastic
That's
movie.
definitely right.
Phenomenal movie. I'm pretty sure that's the plot of one of the Star Wars movies.
But are some of these conspiracy theories based upon some level of truth or reality?
I mean,
Or is it just all made up? It's like it's never gonna happen.
that's theory in a nutshell. I mean, all conspiracy theory is conspiracy theory until it's proven true, right? But like when it gets to a point where it's just very outlandish and not at all based in reality or fact, that's where it becomes dangerous. And I think, what's going to come next with the next generation, which is the AI generation, they're going to go through it even worse than I did because, like, we got stories. They're going to get fabricated videos and images that are completely, you're unable to tell them apart from reality.
Now that one is definitely something that
That's
we need
terrifying.
to address. I want to let Joe chime in before we get into that. I really want to talk about that.
yeah. So social communities, I think is it's almost like I want to call it as like a lost art in our societal function. The word community is so broad, and the spectrum of what you consider as community, whether it's like digital or something that's more tangible as physical. Um, I think in today's times, it's sort of hard to kind of be able to compartmentalize. And to Leo's point, a lot of this has it's like rooted in things being digital, and I think it has evolved so much as the time goes on too. But at the same time, there is still that fundamental core element to it. If you look at,
True.
we're still connected in so many different ways, but it's just the channel in which we form those communities are more so becoming more digital now. And it's interesting times that we live in for sure. And it's just very interesting to see between all the generations and how they compare their eras or how they did things before and where we are now as we transition into this new generation. It's very interesting to see where we are now, where we're going to go.
I think social communities are great, but like anything else, it's great how you use it. But I think the danger in social community is that in physical community or natural community, it is something you have to generally seek. In social communities, based upon artificial intelligence and digital community, you don't have to seek that. That is actually after you because identity is needed in order to create this industry. And so this is why everywhere you go, you have to log on. You got to create an account with everybody. You got to create an account. Like, a long time ago, you see, you buy cable, right? And then you have, okay, you get a package. You get HBO, you get Cinemax, and you get ESPN and something else. But now you got to create your own ESPN account. You got to create your own HBO account. You got to create your own Max account. You got to create everything has an account. Everything has a password. Everything has an identity. Whether your cloud, your phone, your email, everything is an identity. And I think all this digital thing needs an identity in order to make it, more real. It can consume. It can thrive because naturally, as human beings, we come up with our own identity. Computer doesn't come up. Excuse me. With its own identity, and so I think this is why it is. It has a predatory mentality where it really targets people because at the end of the day, it's really all about marketing. It's really about understanding human nature, how they operate, what do they do, how do they think, can we manipulate it to the point we can control it? Go ahead.
So I'm glad you said that because very recently, I can't remember exactly where this was, but a court of law somewhere ruled against the major social media companies because the targeted ads had actually put a young girl in such mental distress that she could not recuperate. So the ability to create these social communities is great, but ultimately, who has the responsibility of making sure that it is not something that is both incredibly negative on an individual level and detrimental to society on a much higher scale? Is it the consumer or is it the provider?
I think sometimes it's the product. You create a solution for a problem that doesn't exist yet. So I think with the creation of like the digital realm, nobody really would know how big it was going to be impacts it would have in the future as we progress year after year. Things or the goalpost, if you will, keeps moving forward and forward. And I think it has a very big effect detrimentally to the consumer. Most important, but it is within the product that we sell also.
But if you see us out, we're out eating at the same time. We're having some pizza, having some wings. So we're chowing down, having a conversation. But you know what? To what you both just said, there was a situation by where there was a young man. He fell in love with an AI, and the AI will respond to him,
Oh, yeah.
and it was simulated to be a real person.
I heard about that.
Yeah, and he fell in love with the AI, and the AI broke up with him, and he committed suicide. Now I say to myself, something's wrong with the young man. But as to your point, Joe, as you're saying, is it the consumer or is it the or the creator? The creator has a responsibility to the product it creates. But I think this is why we keep saying, okay, why does Instagram, why does Facebook, why does all these social media, why are they all in court saying that you made this stuff too addictive? There are a lot of parents that sue these companies and say they made this stuff addictive, and people don't think that they're addicted to their devices, but they said that in 1924, 25, they said one of the number one reason people would be late for work or call out is because if they forgot their phone. People can't survive without even their phone.
Yeah.
I come from a generation, we had phone at the house, right? You leave a message, we'll get back to you whenever. But people can't live without their phone. But also, people cannot stop scrolling. It is an addiction. I'm getting to the point, honestly, I'm being honest. I had to delete TikTok, Instagram. I mean, I took off Facebook, I took off all the social media. And I was having a little bit of withdrawal. I wanted to scroll. And I was like, are you walking? Are you serious? Like, I really want to scroll. Some good content come on that, some bad content at the same time. But it's fun. It stimulates the brain. Is you learn some great information. Somebody shares something from a master class. At the same time, you see something humorous and funny. At the same time, you see something of a cause. At the same time, you see something of a weird. I mean, my mind was getting bites of information of stuff that it generally wouldn't get because I would have gone into research because the news is so dry. In other words, the news doesn't really reach out as far as what social media can reach. But when I actually decided to take it off, I was missing a little bit, and it took me a little while to tell myself, hey, these withdrawal symptoms are not good. So I can imagine for me, I know I'm very active doing stuff. I'm always reading, I'm always searching for information, and I rather the research of mental research or learning something new in and of itself through the physical aspect instead of just reading Google. Like people see something off of Google or from TikTok, and then all of a sudden they become genius in a conversation. They know how they'll argue the situation because they saw something on social media. Is it really the creator or is it the consumer?
I'm gonna jump in.
Okay.
I'll jump in.
I think both parties hold a responsibility, but ultimately you can't expect the producer of the product to make their product less, in their terms, usable. You want to stay on the product the whole day. That is exactly what they want.
I understand that, but in medicine they said certain painkillers you can't make the dose too strong to make the person feel good
Yeah.
because they'll get addicted to it.
You can't refill opiates beyond a certain amount. You can't go. You get one prescription for oxy, and you cannot refill that prescription because they don't want you falling into addiction.
So is the device the same thing?
Is
the content, the social media the same thing?
Social media as heavily regulated as medicine is right now?
Not as heavy, but it's getting there because in the last 10 years, there's been consistent lawsuits of saying that this is addictive because that's what's happening to new generation.
I think there's also a study done a few years ago that social media has the same kind of effect in terms of getting someone addicted to it, like cocaine.
Yeah.
Because I think what a lot of people are not taking into consideration is how much of a stimulant social media really is.
That's true.
The algorithms, as he said earlier, feed into your cravings for anything.
All right, wait a minute. Stop right there. For those who are watching or who will be watching, explain a little bit of algorithm.
So this is a very technical term, and Leo, feel free to chime in here if I miss anything. But basically, an algorithm is a set of parameters that are defined by your interests. So once you start scrolling, there are things in the background that keep track of Eddy likes basketball. So the next time he starts scrolling, I'm going to put more basketball in there to keep him in the app, right? Next thing you know, Eddy likes to learn about business opportunities. So he'll put a bunch of entrepreneurs who will sell you all these classes.
So you're feeding me what I like.
What you like.
Until I
Not
like
what you need.
until I like it enough?
Not necessarily.
No?
No.
Go on.
Because the algorithm's not designed based on what you like and dislike. The algorithm's designed on what keeps your attention. So if I like
My interest, right? But it's not what I like. And then it just starts to teach me to like something I don't like till I like something else.
I'm not too interested in seeing certain things that are happening across the world in a short form content where I don't get context or I don't understand the severity of the depth of what's going on.
Sure.
But if I watch that video twice, the algorithm believes that it's something that has kept my interest and it's going to feed me more of that, whether or not I actually do like it. If it maintains your interest, if it maintains your curiosity, or even if you put your phone down while you're brushing your teeth and the same video just plays on loop 15, 20 times, the algorithm's going to take that into consideration and that is what it's going to start feeding you.
All right, I'm going to give you an example. So, in the social media, TikTok or Facebook, they used to have like a lot of fights. I mean, just raw fights. People just fighting.
World Star.
You should scream that out loud in high school.
And then they started to say, so they did a test. A lot of people didn't like it at first, but it kind of like shocked the senses into liking watching it. And then they started the same people that they put in the room, they did a test and found out they didn't like this at first when they started like, oh, not scrolling. Then they saw it again, oh, that was a knockout, but they looked at it again. And the next you know, people were actually scrolling and looking for fights.
Yeah.
So algorithm can teach us to like what we don't like.
Yeah.
In a sense. Because isn't that what marketing is truly is about? Creating a need even when there wasn't a need, and then believing the need is your own need that was created by you.
I mean, that's smoking in a nutshell, right? Listen, I'm horrible.
That is irrefutable.
I'm horribly against it. Like, I know that the ramifications. I know that the adverse health effects. But like something about seeing Cillian Murphy in Peaky Blinders, and he just has a cigarette in his mouth. He looks menacing. He just looks like,
It's like the coolest thing you've ever seen.
coolest thing in the world. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna go pick up a pack of Newports on my way back tomorrow.
And then you realize you don't look as cool as him.
Right. Right.
And I realize I'm just a bratty little millennial with a cigarette in his mouth. It's like,
True.
did the
So-
same thing for peacocks for me.
Oh yeah.
So with society going down, with society going this particular way,
Yeah.
and AI, they're saying they want to integrate AI where the human being can actually no longer need a device, need a phone, right? The future is you won't need a phone. You can actually download information straight to the suburbia of your mind, and you can access the information in your own head. Sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's being put into practice now.
Yeah.
So they had the test. So they had this guy in a machine, and they put sensors around his nerve, on his brain, on his head, and they say, think of a giraffe, think of an elephant, and think of a lion. He thought of it. It read, and the computer drew an image of what he was thinking,
Mhm.
and it was accurate. It drew the giraffe, it drew the lion, and it drew the elephant because he was thinking it, and the computer could see the senses that was going in his head, and it actually drew. Isn't that scary?
That is pretty horrifying when you put it that way.
Terrifying for someone who has bad intrusive thoughts.
Yeah. People could weaponize that stuff,
But
or incriminate.
I think that might tie in directly into the mental health portion of it. I mean, like, because how is it? I don't think the technology is there yet to be able to discern between what is a consciously created thought in your own mind versus something that your psyche has put there because of a stress or a trauma or something that you don't have any control over.
Mhm.
So let's use an example that's very close to home with my generation: self-harm. What happens if this chip inside your head is downloading all this information? All of a sudden, you have an intrusive thought that you want to hurt yourself in some form or manner, and boom, here's 25 Wikipedia articles on how you do it. So, like, the application, it's going to be very hard to discern between a conscious or an unconscious thought in that way, and that scares me because I don't want, like, everybody has a bad thought every now and then, but I don't want this access to information to exacerbate that thought.
Yeah.
But isn't that what the internet does in some instances? Somebody has a bad day and they get on, and there's a lot of people just telling them, well, you know what, you ought to kill yourself, or you know what, I hate you too, and then there's an argument and all of a sudden he goes out and wants to be a lone wolf. and does something, or you hear, okay, wow, she was just 13 years old and she committed suicide just because all the school was bullying her, telling her something bad about her.
That's been happening a lot more often
Right.
in that particular. But the lone wolf aspect, it it existed before this.
Right, true.
So
But I'm saying, does it this magnifies it now? This gives it room because that was just a crack in the door. But now with all of this device and all of this technology, doesn't that really now let people know what they can explore? Because unfortunately, the human nature loves to explore the dark side.
Yeah. Morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
some of the greatest stories written in humanity are tragedies. So
Yes.
Right.
That's true.
Right?
It's true. Curiosity is always a very interesting concept because we ought to know something that we don't know or can't conceive in our minds. You know what I mean? So, eh, in that case, I think if, let's say, technology gets to that point where it can literally materialize anything that goes into your mind, there's where do you even put the limits to like what it can do and can't do? Like he said, like if he can just if he's having or like you said, if somebody's having a bad day and they decided to, maybe hurt themselves, what's stopping that from doing
it's
it?
making something that's very easy to get access to even easier, or sometimes even compulsory.
Right.
Because there's no limitation.
Yeah, because the regulations should already be set. I mean, there's a lot of countries that are setting regulations on social media to prevent these very things from happening.
Yeah.
Sweden has its own set of regulations for what you can and can't do with social media. I think Australia has its own set of regulations for when, how long. I think you have to be a certain age before you get full access, but I think under the age of 18, you're only allowed a couple hours a day. You're only allowed a limited amount of time.
I mean, I think that's a great thing you just said. I think there should be a limit how much you can do social media. I don't think, especially in this society in America,
Mhm.
I don't think people can live without social media.
It's because we've been conditioned to consume it freely and unlimited.
But I don't think they should.
No, I don't think.
I don't think this is the evolution of the community. We've moved communities to online, but I do think that a lot of these social media companies operate like news agencies now in the amount of information that they pump out.
Mhm.
You guys remember when Kobe died?
Yes.
How many false articles did TMZ pump out about who was with him, who else died, how he died?
Yeah.
You know, we got everything from it was just him to it was his entire family to Shaquille O'Neal was with him, or Steve Nash was with him, or Paul Gasol was with him, or it was an entire girls basketball team, or it was this helicopter crashed into a plane or went into some wires. Like TMZ reported so many fake stories about that one particular instance before we eventually got the truth. And what bothers me the most about that particular story is that Vanessa Bryant found out through TMZ. And TMZ doesn't obviously still has their website, but they operate almost entirely on social media now because that is the new avenue for news agencies to put their information out.
Yeah.
So it's no longer important to be right. It's more important to be first.
Right. That's it.
Should we be regulating social media companies that promote these types of information as news agencies and give them some sort of editorial responsibility?
Mm.
True. They should. The reason they say they can't because they're saying that it's independent people just reporting whatever, and then they're giving people access
Yeah.
to reporting whatever they want to. So you can't regulate an individual for saying their opinion because that's freedom of speech.
Yeah.
You know. So
For individual people, sure, yeah. But if you're, taglined with a major company, if you're with TMZ, if you're with, the Post, if you're with a lot of agencies that have histories of not exactly telling the truth or the whole truth because of whatever reason, because of bias, because of motive, or just because they want to be first.
well, I mean, Fox was sued for $1 billion, and they said it worked in their favor because more people watched them.
Yeah, more people watched Fox News while they were going through that argument. They were horribly wrong about the Dominion voting machines.
but they were able to generate a base and get more people to view because the news became interesting, even though it was a lie.
Well, Fox News is my favorite example of what it is to be a social community, where it ends up being an echo chamber.
That is
Because traditionally, people who want the news don't go to Fox. It's people who share the same views as Fox who go to Fox.
Right.
Same thing with CNN and NBC and ABC. People who want the actual news tend to go to journals. They tend to go to the New York Times.
I think those places are losing their voice.
Exactly, because it's very convenient to just watch television or see a 10-second edited video of what is going on. But by design, human nature is always going to be biased in one way or another, whether or not we want to be.
that's true.
So even if I want to report in the most neutral, just the facts way, maybe my way of conveying the writing is going to skew left or right, even if I'm not overtly skewing that way.
Right.
But when you're going out there and you're purposely putting your bias into a news story, I don't think we really needed to know that Obama played like 256 rounds of golf in a year or something. That's a story with a very definite purpose. Yes, you're reporting an event that happened, but the way you're reporting it, the tan suit, it's an event that happened, but you reported it a certain way.
Well, I mean, that's a good point because the tan suit, all the presidents before him wore tan suits, but it was never an issue until he wore it. But
So now you're
fine.
taking an event, you're showcasing the facts in a way that showcases an opinion and imposes it upon your target audience the way you want it to. Because now you got 40% of Americans, of voting Americans, who believe that a president should never wear anything other than a black, blue, or gray suit.
Okay, well, bribery, we can call that.
So it's exactly what you were saying before. You are imposing an opinion upon a group of people who did not have that opinion before by giving them an alternative version of the facts rather than the actual presentation of the facts. And that's what the danger of social media is, what presenting the news or presenting these facts is. They are always going to present it with the bias of the person presenting it.
So let's dig into that because that goes right into where the next area are mental health.
Yeah.
Mental health is such a, I mean, this is a huge problem in society today.
Yeah.
Especially in America. There is no solid way to attack this because it's coming from so many different perspectives, so many different views. And I feel like the way our society is so unregulated contributes to the mental health issue. It's not being addressed seriously because it has fallen into the political field as a ploy to be used for points or votes and stuff like that. But I mean, I've never seen so many kids. I was talking to a young person the other not a few months ago, and I was like, you know, getting ready to go to school and stuff like that. And he was like, I wonder what our new safety drill is going to be this year because the last one they had sucked, and you know why somebody came to that room there, you know, we all get shot. I'm like, I wasn't having that conversation when I was young.
Yeah.
You know, that even crossed the line for me. But
I mean, things we were.
Yeah.
We were definitely having that conversation. I mean, I remember where I was when Sandy Hook happened.
Yeah.
yeah, I was at work.
I was in school.
I was at work in school.
I was in Connecticut high school.
Yeah. But they dealt it down. It's just mental health. It's just everything that happens to a certain group is just mental health. Is it really just mental health? How bad is mental health? And I feel like our social society, our digital community, contributes to the destruction of healthy health, of healthy mental health.
I think it feeds into like someone who's already going on a downward spiral. You know, like if you're already having like these mental moments in, in your day-to-day life where nothing feels like something's ever going right, and you go into social media and you see these little things that are specifically catered to you too. There's going to be like that effect of amplifying that feeling that you're having in the first place. So I think, for example, like the whole Sandy Hook thing, how long has that been like pent up within the kid? And that's even before social media was a thing. So imagine now. And I think a lot of the people being exposed to these things is also making them, what would you call it? Like it would just encourage a lot of these behaviors, in my opinion, because social media promotes it, or it seems like in the news it would be deemed so horrifying, but in social media for some reason, because it's so accessibly to anyone and everyone, it feels like it's just safe to consume something.
I think it's so hard for people to guard their mind in today's society.
Mm.
I think there's a mental battle going on every day. The minute you wake up,
Mhm.
in order to actually have your own thoughts.
Yeah.
I think society wants to take away your thoughts and tell you what to think. And I think society wants robotic people. It wants people to think a certain way. It wants to be able to control it. It wants to have an access into the last privacy we have is our mind. And then once it gets into your mind, it has a control. And then now you become a number. Now we can predict your behavior. Now we know who you're going to be in society, what you're going to be in society, how you're going to contribute to society. And then now you fit into the sequence of what we're looking to do. And I think that is one of the most detrimental things to mental health in today's society. People don't understand that they're literally fighting for their mental health, that there's a mental battle going on every day. The minute you get up,
Yeah.
there's a device right there. It's like the other day, I got up and I said something. I said, oh, I want to get this. I looked at Amazon Alexa. It's going across Alexa. I go to my phone. It's coming on my phone. I didn't speak to my phone. I didn't speak to Alexa. I said it out loud,
Mhm.
and it was going across. And then there was things similar to it.
Mhm.
And now I'm thinking about, oh, I should go buy this and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then I go, this like you could get it this at this price and that stuff like that. And now you know what? I had a simple thought that was mine, but all of a sudden I have all these exterior dev- device, well, any devices in my house that I own, but I have all these exterior mentalities are coming in and telling me, okay, this is the way you can get it. This is how you buy it. This is the thing. This is the feature to it. And all of a sudden now I'm thinking about, okay, I need to get this thing.
Yeah.
I think we're constantly fighting for our mind. And most people don't know they're in a mental war. Do you feel you're in a mental war? In a mental battle?
Every day. Every day.
I would say so. I would say so.
I keep track of the hours that I log into my phone, screen time, because I like to keep it below a certain threshold per day, just to make sure that it isn't taking away too much of my peace. I feel like a lot of the issues that I personally face stem from the fact that I have access to so much information on a daily basis that I kind of need to get myself away from it. I can only take so many things in one day. Like I said, I don't think that mental health is the problem. I think mental health is the consequence that we are facing for the problems that we have right now. We watch a lot of streaming services. Cable is no longer a thing for a lot of people. Everything is, individual accounts, streaming services, and everything. And it's obviously cheaper to have it with ads, right?
Mhm.
I think every single time I turn on Hulu, or Disney, or whoever it is to watch a show, if there are 10 commercials in an episode, 7 of them are GLP-1 commercials.
Mm.
So I got 7 minutes worth of every episode I watch telling me you don't look a certain way, you could look that way if you purchase this product. And you don't go to the gym, don't do this, don't do that. Just buy this product, buy this pill. This pill's going to make you skinny. It's going to make you look a certain way. Who cares about the side effects it's going to have on your health? Now you got to pick between your physical well-being of taking this product or your mental well-being of looking and feeling a certain way. Now, every time you're going to look in the mirror, you're going to think, maybe I could stand to lose a couple pounds. For a lot of people who have the money to afford these products, that's what they're doing. And they're losing their actual real health because of the side effects these products have. And for a lot of people who cannot afford these products, it's putting them in a funk because of the fact that they cannot achieve those goals as quickly as they would like to because they cannot afford that specific product. Yeah, you could go to the gym and you could diet and you could probably achieve the exact same, if not a better result. But something that we also are because of social media and because of everything that happens around us is we are a generation of instant gratification.
Of course.
On it now.
I want it now. I want it 2 minutes ago. Why isn't it here yet? We're a generation of ordering something off of a major website and then checking the shipping cycle every single day all the way through.
Tracking that mug, yeah.
I can attest to that because I ordered something 2 days ago, and
Yeah.
It ain't here yet.
no,
You're
it's
checking.
not, and because it's I have very good reasons, but that's besides the point. One of the things that made me really anxious, and my girlfriend and I actually got into a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a fight, but more of like, yeah, it was that she made me like a really nice lunch. I came home for lunch. She prepared like a very nice lunch for us, but she called me on my phone, and all she asked me was, is everything okay? Because, I was concerned about this item I purchased, and simply because I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. I was promised it would be there yesterday, and today is now, and I still don't have it.
Okay, stop. Sorry, this is good here. What made you feel anxious? What do you feel caused that feeling?
Oh, it's the anticipation of receiving something that I bought, and I have conceptually materialized in my mind that it's going to be in my possession, and I couldn't wait to just have it.
So you feel you deserved it at a certain time, right?
Yeah, I would say yes. That, given the amount of time I spent waiting for it, that if I was promised something to be received at a certain time and day, that I should have it. Now, here's where the mental gymnastics kind of messed me up yesterday, was that, the shipping of this whole thing is what made me even more mad, because it was already here and it came from Texas, and then it went to Chicago, and this morning was in Pennsylvania, and now it's back in Stanford again.
Of course, they got to make some money. Somebody got to make some money else, all right?
So immediately my thought process was somebody's tampering with my package. And so because I was mentally occupied by this possibility of somebody taking my package and me not having it right away, it caused my girlfriend to say, you know what? You ate the food that I made you, and the first thing you didn't even say is how it tasted. All I hear you is complain about the package. So there is a significant side effect to these expectations that our generation has come to adopt, which is the instant gratification. I want it now. I don't want to wait because I need to have it. But this need to have it was manufactured. It's not something that was genuinely something that came as a natural cause. It's something that you created in the moment. Maybe it was an impulse purchase, right? And that's what makes it worse.
It's a want so strong that it feels like a need.
Yes.
See, this is what society is doing.
Yep.
This is why the devices are so important in society. This is why Facebook, Instagram, TikTok are so business of making $1 million. Because this is what marketing does. It creates a need you didn't know you needed. You had. And then all of a sudden you think it's your own need. Then you create all the emotion to
Yes.
attach to it. I feel like I should have it. I've already ordered it. I've already paid it. It was promised to me in 2 days. I am very demanding. I want it right now. But before you even have that, you'll be like, okay, it's late, no big deal. They'll come in a couple of days. I have no problem going about your business.
Yeah, that's true.
But marketing in itself is controlling the mind of people.
Yeah.
And especially we live in a society that's a hustle and bustle, in a grind society. And like you say, I need to have what I want to have. And, we've become such an ungrateful society.
That's
I am
true.
it's very demanding. Like I had somebody come to my job the other day, and the person was waiting behind one person while everybody else was occupied, and he screamed out loud, "How long do I gotta wait?" And he was literally there 60 seconds. And all he needed to do was get changed. I came from the office and I'm like, who is screaming? Because I've been sitting in line for half an hour. He starts exaggerating. And he had a 20 he took out the ATM and needed 210. He couldn't wait 60 seconds. He literally couldn't.
Yeah.
He was highly upset.
How old you say?
Huh?
How old you say?
He was about, I would say he was somewhere in his 40, 50 in that range.
Patience wear thins around that age.
But it was just incredible that a person had no consideration for the other people who were being helped, no consideration for the people who were working to help those individuals, but all he was consumed about himself. And this is what society drives us. It actually just drives us to care only about ourselves. Just what we want. When can we get it? How fast can we get it? And like you just said, I should have had it 2 minutes later. It's about the I.
Mhm.
And it's a stressful society because society is always advertising you, just like when you made the example of like, well, you know what? You could go to the gym, you could work out and get actually better results because they're natural results. But now I'd rather get the pill because you know what? The party is this Saturday and this Thursday, and I need to lose 34, 40 pounds.
Yeah.
So I rather deal with the side effects later, but at least I'm gonna get the weight off in a few days.
Yeah.
I think somewhere, down the line, we're going to look at this like GLP-1, this Ozempic craze, the same way we look at anorexia and bulimia.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we're going to get at some point because those side effects are nasty.
yes they are.
Those side effects are and we don't really know much about the long term yet.
No, we don't. There haven't been enough case study on
Yeah,
it.
and it hasn't existed long enough.
No.
I mean, this was a medicine that was originally for diabetics.
That's yes.
That was the original purpose
Purpose of it,
of
yeah.
the medication. So, but it ties back into, you order something and you're anxious about it every step of the way. Every single step of the way. You haven't ordered it yet, you're anxious about ordering it. You ordered it, you're anxious about it arriving. You're checking every single step of the way of its delivery. It's been to 15 different places across the country already.
Yeah.
Why isn't it here yet? You're anxious because it got delivered. It's at your house, but you're at work. So you got to wait till you get home.
No, you at work stressed now.
Yeah, now you're stressed at work. Now
You're trying to figure out how do I get off and go. Oh.
Yeah.
You even look at your camera to see, okay, what delivery is there, but you're still not secure
How much
yet.
pizza?
PTO do I have? Can I spare a couple hours PTO to go home and open this package? And then you get home and you open the package and you get that gratification for all of 15 minutes.
Okay, here's the problem.
And now you go on and you're back on social media, you're back on the internet,
Yeah.
you're back onto television.
This
you're
is
on to
the biggest
next
problem here.
So
It's a never-ending cycle.
mental health is not a problem. It's a consequence of the different aspects of our society that impact us on a daily basis. Consumerism being one of the really big ones. The financial strain of what we have going on around us. Gas is now above $4.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy. I have not seen $4 on that gas sticker in a long time.
I have
3 years ago.
to fill up twice in a week. Well, before I used to fill up once in a week to do the same routine that I'm doing.
Used to be $40 for me to get a full tank. Now it's, I think, about 75. I got to do that once a week. My wife has a mobile business. Like, that is going to have, that's what? That's an extra $35 a week. That is at least $180 or $215 a month that I gotta budget for.
Yeah, that's
Those are, and when gas goes up, everything else goes up because of the fact that
right.
everything's
Guys,
coming
you can actually see the numbers,
in.
but in the grocery store, you don't see the numbers. It's like, wow, you know what? I got a bag. I got three things in the bag, and it's $50. It's $60.
A buddy of mine went to the supermarket, got 6 things today. 6 things cost him $80. 2 of those things were lemons and oranges.
That's crazy. But back to the something you just said, and I wanted to get to that point, is that the very fact the anticipation.
Yes.
Anytime you build anticipation for something, it never fulfills the feeling that you're looking for. Because the anticipation will always be higher than the actual product. And that's what makes it great for them. And just like you just said, Joe, you find yourself, okay, I gotta go run back to the internet. Because now you just got hit with an anticipation. I got it in 10 minutes before it lasts you 2 hours or 2 days. Then it started lasting you a day. Then it started lasting you a few hours. Then it started lasting you 2 hours. Now it's lasting you 10 minutes. You got it? 10 minutes. I got the hit. I got the thrill. I need to go buy again. I need to shop again.
That's what's scary is how you stop that, because it's not regulated.
It's not.
We're basically influenced by
Stimulation.
right?
Yeah.
That example I gave you, for those of you watching, that is very true. That is a real package. It was supposed to arrive yesterday. We're here now today, and it's not at my doorstep.
It'll be there tomorrow. If anybody needs his address, it's
So, right now I actually have, because the anticipation grew, I call it like the roller coaster moment.
Right.
When you start off on a roller coaster, they tell you fasten your seatbelt. It creates like this emotion. It evokes like, I better prepare myself for something. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
That's where the thrill is.
Right.
So you ascend. This is me anticipating the package. I get to the top. Oh, it's going to be here today. I'm waiting for the drop. The drop never comes. So for me, I think like this all stems from just like being influenced by everything around me. You know, it's a very dangerous path that we keep walking on as a society.
I'm gonna push on pause there. I didn't now realize that we went over an hour.
Yeah.
It was only an hour. We had 9:03. So I gotta end. Hey y'all, thank you for joining with me tonight. This is Eddy on The Last Word. Catch us on Monday night at 8 or Sunday at 8 a.m. Thank you. I had Leo and Joe with me today. We'll definitely continue this next time. Went over our time. Conversation was getting good.
Go you,
Don,
Tommy.
this is a Big Don production in the Jerry Green. We'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great night. Take care.
Ooh.